Beneath the Devil's Bridge lies a secret no one was ever meant to find. Welcome back to the Purely Fiction Society. I'm Knowles, your host, and tonight we travel deep into the dense silent forests of Saxony, Germany, to the Rakotzbrücke, the infamous Devil's Bridge. Built in 1860, this jagged stone arch forms a perfect circle when it reflects in the still waters below. Local folklore claims the bridge is a portal, built by a demon, but the real history is far more grounded and far more dangerous. This bridge wasn't built for art, it was built to guard a precious secret. A secret about a royal woman whose name was erased from every history book in Europe. Under the cold water, her true story is waiting to be read. Settle in. This is the treasure of the forgotten princess. The nature park of Kromlau, Germany, was completely empty. A damp autumn wind swept through the trees, dropping heavy yellow leaves onto the forest floor. The area was surrounded by tall volcanic pillars that had been imported here over a century ago. At the center of the park lay the exposed bed of a large man-made lake. Today, the water was completely gone, as the local municipality had drained the basin for seasonal maintenance, leaving nothing but thick exposed black mud. Jody stood on the muddy bank, adjusting the heavy straps of her boots. She was an Australian researcher and archivist, completely used to tough outdoor conditions and lonely field trips. She had spent a decade cataloguing old documents for private estates across the Commonwealth. 6 months ago, she uncovered a bundle of letters that had been sealed since 1862. They were written by Friedrich Hermann, the very knight who designed and funded this bridge. The letters revealed a dark truth. The knight was the secret protector of a disgraced Prussian princess who had vanished from the royal court. Before she disappeared, she stole the kingdom's most valuable possession. The knight built this bridge to hide her prize from imperial bounty hunters. Armed with nothing but a translated map from those old letters, Jody stepped down into the thick freezing mud of the lake bed. She walked directly beneath the apex of the massive stone arch and used her flashlight to examine the stone pillars carefully. And there, high up on the center foundation, she spotted it. Hidden beneath decades of dried moss was a small carved symbol, a crowned heart wrapped in thorns. It was the personal seal of the forgotten princess. Reaching into her canvas tool bag, she pulled out a heavy steel chisel and a wooden mallet. Her hands were cold, but her grip was tight. She placed the sharp edge of the chisel right along the seam of the carved volcanic rock and struck the chisel with the mallet. A sharp thud echoed through the silent woods, and she struck it a second time, much harder this time. On the third strike, the stone didn't break. It slid backwards into the pillar, revealing a hollow pitch-black space inside the foundation of the arch. A draft of stagnant air hissed out into her face. It smelled of old wax and decaying wood. She shone her flashlight into the gap, and deep inside the stone pocket sat a heavy rectangular iron box that was wrapped in thick greased leather to protect it from the damp earth. With a hard tug, she hauled the heavy iron box out of the cavity and sat it down on a flat rock in the mud. The box was incredibly heavy for its size. She peeled away the rotting layers of greased leather, and the iron underneath was black and pitted with age, sealed shut by a massive brass padlock. As she didn't have a key, Jody raised her mallet and swung it down hard against the old rock. The brass sheared under the force, and she pried back the heavy iron lid. The rusted hinges groaned against the silence of the forest. The inside of the box was insulated by centuries of decaying red velvet, and resting on the cloth was a breathtaking, massive rod of solid yellow gold. This was the imperial scepter. The metal was dense and unpolished, its surface embedded with a single coarse, uncut diamond at its tip. It was no mere piece of palace jewelry. This was the physical stamp of immense state power. By taking this scepter, the forgotten princess had effectively paralyzed the administrative heart of the Prussian Empire. The king could not legally sign laws or command his armies without it. Jody carefully lifted the heavy gold rod. Beneath the weight of the scepter lay a smaller compartment, and inside was a beautiful handwritten collection of letters and a lost personal diary, sealed with a cracked black wax royal stamp. Jody cracked the wax seal and opened the first page of the diary. The elegant handwriting was perfectly preserved by the airtight box. As her eyes scanned the lines, the final piece of the mystery clicked into place. The diary contained an explosive scandal. It held direct written proof that the current royal bloodline was entirely illegitimate. If this diary hadn't been found a century ago, the entire empire would have collapsed into a civil war. For over 100 years, historians believed the king's men had caught the princess and burned her records. Instead, she had outsmarted them. She lived out her final days in a quiet cottage nearby, watching the reflection of the bridge every afternoon, knowing her secret was safe underneath the water. Jody looked at the gold scepter in one hand and the royal diary in the other. The kings were long gone, and the empire was history. But the evidence of the Prussian princess' final victory was real, and it was now sitting directly in an Australian researcher's mud-stained hands. Jody closed the diary and sat quietly beneath the bridge. The silence of the forest had returned, broken only by the gentle rustling of leaves overhead. She looked at the heavy gold scepter resting beside her. It could make her rich and famous. This diary could rewrite European history. But that wasn't why she'd come. For over a century, one woman had protected the truth, never for power, but to stop a kingdom tearing itself apart. That war was long over and the kings were gone. The empire had faded into history, and there was nothing left to be gained by dragging the dead back into another fight. So Jody carefully wrapped the scepter in the gold greased leather and placed it back inside the iron box. She returned the diary to its velvet bed and lowered the heavy lid until it settled with a dull thud. Carrying the box back beneath the bridge, she slid it into the hidden chamber and pushed the stone into place. The carved heart disappeared behind the moss again, and as though it had never been disturbed. As she climbed out of the drained lake, she looked back for the last time. Soon the water would return, hiding the bridge's secret beneath its perfect reflection again. Some discoveries belong in museums. Others are better left exactly where history chose to hide them. Jody leaves the Devil's Bridge behind, knowing the forgotten princess's greatest secret will remain beneath its reflection for generations to come. Thank you for listening to tonight's tale from the Purely Fiction Society. If Jody's discovery beneath the Devil's Bridge captured your imagination tonight, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Would you have taken the Imperial Scepter and the diary? Or would you have returned them to their hiding place? To ensure you never miss our next standalone adventure, make sure you are subscribed with notifications turned on. Until next time, don't stop believing. Good night.